June 30th today, and I got some fresh raspberries to pick. There we go, that's focused now. I grabbed one yesterday off that spot. Got a whole bunch more growing. That's really awesome. Can't wait to be eating these all summer. And there's a whole bunch more. All of this, all back here is all raspberry as well. You can see how many are growing back here, but it's more shaded, so there's no fruit ready yet. Some of them, like these ones, are getting kind of closer, but no red popping out yet. Anyways, I think I'm gonna pop these air layers off in its own separate video today. Alright, so I've got my first pot ready to go. I'm gonna take off the first air layer from this pear tree. I think I showed on one of the update videos the roots that are growing in here. Looking really good. A whole bunch on that one. So I'm gonna take this one off first, I think, because the bag's kind of open here and the soil's really drying out. So hopefully some of those roots haven't died. But I'll get that into the first pot. And then next I'll take the really big one off, but I've got to prepare each pot first before I take each one off. So this will probably be a multi-day process. I'll just do one at a time. This will actually be the first time I've ever removed an air layer from anything. You know, this is my first air layering experience, so yeah, pretty fun, pretty awesome to see those roots coming in. I'll go ahead and take this off. Might as well do it on camera. I'll set it up back here somewhere. Alright, I'm gonna do it up on the ladder there so I can support the limb as it comes off. There it is, my first air layer. Pretty cool. Alright, well, sorry for the air conditioner noise as always. I'm going to take off the plastic here. I guess I'll just cut these. Try and get everything on camera if I can. These ones I tied up with artificial sinew. Not the most graceful start here, is it? There There we go. Alright, let's take that plastic off. The soil I used, I didn't use any sphagnum moss or anything. Definitely didn't do the greatest job there, but hey, looks like it got the job done. Grew some roots. They've still got white growing tips on them. So I'll just give them a little spray for now to keep them nice and damp. And then I'll pop this really deep in the pot here. My umbrella's in the way of the top of the foliage. I think yeah, actually I'm gonna shorten the top foliage a little bit first. I don't want it to be too top heavy and flop over a lot. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3 main branches, 4 even, that grew out. This is where I cut it back when I did the air layer. When was that? A couple months ago now. I think it was, I don't know, I'll go back through my records and check it out. Maybe a month and a half ago. So I'm gonna shorten everything kind of way back, have them grow outwards. Like eventually, you're gonna want your fruit tree. None of that was on camera. Okay, I'm gonna have this grow outwards that way. So chop there. This one will come way down to here on camera again. This one will be the leader. It can kind of grow out this way. And this small one I'll bring way back as well. Okay, so that's the top of the tree now. There's one little branch that's grown out along here. I'll just keep that one for now, and then a bunch of kind of fruiting spurs that have started growing up along it. Okay, that's much more manageable, way less top heavy now, and I can put that way down at the bottom of the pot. And I will be putting, probably should have just taken that stuff out, oh well. I will be putting some large rocks on top of the soil to help weigh everything down. Hopefully I got enough soil here. Oh yeah. That should do, hopefully. Almost not enough, but will do. I'll make sure to put more in it next time. So it's actually standing up on its own right now. That's cool. And somewhat straight up and down. More like that. Definitely gonna need more soil and rocks holding this up. Here are the quite large rocks I'll be using. Make Actually, I'm not going to put more soil in here. I'll just use the rocks to do the job. This is enough soil to grow a good amount of roots. I don't need to fill the pot just because I can. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's in there. Not too bad right now. It's not straight up and down, but I think pretty good. The leader is kind of pointing straight up, so that's good. Anyways, I'll water the pot fully after the video. But I think this is pretty cool. My first air layer. You can see the top there is a little bit kind of leaning towards, the right here. So I'll have to be a little bit careful, but it's in there fairly good right now. It'll be more sturdy once it's watered in. Maybe I'll put some more stones on it, maybe a bit more soil. I don't know. Anyways, that's it for the first one. That's what I cut off of it. And maybe before I remove the next one, I'll do a little bit of pruning of these, longer shoots that have grown up real long and kind of manage its summer growth from here on in. All right, it's the next day now, July 1st, Canada Day. And on this day, I just want to make a quick note about honoring and treating the Indigenous populations of Canada as, first-class citizens, getting them clean water, honoring their treaties, and doing the things that the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action. I think there's 74 of them. Doing all those and taking steps towards righting our past wrongs, and then we can really celebrate this country we call Canada. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and take the next air layer off this one, the big one up top. There's a lot of roots coming out of there. If I take this one, I can get a better idea of what the final tree will look like. I think I decided to take off all the air layers first and then do the general pruning on the rest of it. So this is going to be a pretty big cut. Gotta catch the trunk as it comes off. That was a really big cut. Definitely needed both hands for it. Whoops. I actually took that off too low. I didn't think that through enough. Oh well. Got one less side branch up at the top now. I guess I'll just plant it all in the soil and see what happens. I don't know if any of that was on camera. You can see how I cut it a little bit too low. Did this too quickly. I should have cut it there. That's what I originally planned, but oh well. I'll plant this. Maybe some roots will grow out of this one, and I can, you know, cut them apart in the future. We'll see. Okay, first, I'll make this more manageable by pruning back this top growth to some outward growing branches. Is this on camera here? Okay. So all these ones I'm gonna leave. There's a lot of lower branching happening. So this one, back to there. Thinking, you know, really long term in the future for this tree. Maybe shorten all of them actually. Those ones, the lower ones can stay. This one I'll leave like that to try and encourage some more growth. Okay, I'll go ahead and take this air layer off now, the plastic off. You can see the roots popping through it. Get rid of this lower growth actually. It's all gonna be in the pot anyways. Onto the soil rather. Very nice root action there. Try not to disturb any of the soil in there. Okay, that is pretty darn good, I think. Looks like all the roots grew kind of on the backside away from the sun. That's some very interesting callousing there. Awesome. Okay, just get that buried nice and deep in there. Of course, someone's doing their cutting their lawn right now, or whatever they're doing over there. I mixed up a lot more soil this time. So I'll bury this one nice and deep. The soil I'm using is just it's actually like a bagged topsoil, like a garden additive. Really organic stuff, but I sift out all of the fine material with the window screen size mesh, and I also take out the bigger stuff as well. So it's just a nice loose kind of breathy or airy mix. Breathy. Now because I cut it off a little lower than I had originally planned to, there's actually roots kind of way up here. So I'll just mound up the soil like that. Maybe I can put some moss around that area actually. making sure everything is standing straight up in the pot. Okay, that's good, finally. That's how it looks in the pot. Buried nice and deep. Whole bunch of branching coming off everywhere. Hopefully this little one will grow some roots of its own and I can, split them apart as 2 separate trees in the future. I just decided I'll get rid of this one. It's not necessary now that I, changed the whole plan of everything. I'll snip some of these lower leaves off as well. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but yes, I am aware that, this tree is a bit diseased. It's got this rust or brown spot of some kind. Not sure exactly what it is, but I think because there's, too much going on the ground over there, all the raspberries and a whole bunch of organic material, probably just a little bit of rotting and a little bit diseased, all the leaves on this tree, but generally looking really healthy and doing really well. Got 3 more air layers to come off still. Because I planted it so high, I'm exposing all the roots as I water it in here. It's looking pretty interesting, but I definitely need to add something on there to make sure they keep growing down and out. Alright, it's the next day now, July 2nd. I'm going to go ahead and take off the 3rd air layer. Here, this is flopping pretty heavily off to that side. This one I'm gonna take back all the way almost to the trunk. I'll just leave a little bit for dieback, but I'm not leaving any limbs on this one. Or any branches. Again, there's some pretty decent sub-branching on this one. You can see there's the cut point where I cut back in May or whenever that was. That was on one of the videos. And then these 3 strong leaders grew out, and then a couple little smaller ones. So the top one I'll let grow out as the leader. Cut it back up here. This one I want to grow out more horizontally, so I'll cut way back to there. Same with this one. So hopefully, we'll grow it this way. The thinner ones I'll just let grow for now. That's enough pruning. Here's the air layer part. You can see all the nice fresh white roots growing out of there. There's a whole bunch. Mostly on the shady side. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, there's a little spider on there. Watch out, little buddy. Um, So the soil where the roots weren't growing through fell out, but the stuff with the roots is still intact. So yeah, I'll leave that as the cut point. I'll bury it nice and deep. It should go down till here or so. Okay, there's the pot. Yeah, I think that's a good depth. Try and get it standing straight up before I put in the rest of the soil. Nice and centered in the pot. Nice, I actually made a decent amount of soil this time. I don't want to compact this soil too much like I did with the last one. I think that's why the water was draining fairly slow through it. So I'll just go like this. It's standing up on its own and it looks fairly straight up and down. So I'll just water it in. Very light fertilizer mix in this one, just like always. Okay, I'll get that evened out and I'll put some rocks on it off camera. Okay, I've got it fairly well balanced. More or less looking right up and down. Got some big rocks in there to weigh it down. You can see there's a cut point I made back in May, I think. If I can focus on that. Just take some of this lower foliage off. It's not really necessary so far down. And that one too, why not? Alright, so that's it for Douglas Pear air layer number 3. Pretty cool. Well, I forget how long it's been since I took off the last air layer there. At least a week, I'd say. The 3 of them are over here, still alive so far. The biggest one is the healthiest, looking the best. All of its leaves are pretty good still, especially the bottom ones, but you know, this tree had been infected by some sort of brown spot or whatever, you know, since the spring, so I wasn't expecting all these leaves to stay on. A lot of them have fallen off. I've pulled off a lot of them, you know, that are browning up too much. You know, some of these I'll keep on for a bit, but generally, you know, it's still alive and doing okay. Very organic soil they're in, so I haven't watered them at all. Squirrels have been digging in this one a little bit for some reason. I should put another rock here, that's where they get into. But still doing okay. I watered that a little bit because, you know, the part they dug up got all dried out. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and take off the last 2 air layers today. I'm just gonna do it off camera. Maybe before I plant them, I'll show the roots what it looks like. I took off a bunch of the growth on this one. Took it off and you can see the roots in there. I'm just watering this because it was pretty dry. I want all that soil to stay together. I took off all the fruiting spurs that were growing leaves all the way up to here, top branches, and I pruned them all back. Nice longer leader, a couple shorter ones that'll grow more horizontally, and then this one I left alone. Didn't prune it at all. It's already growing horizontally, so we'll see. Hopefully these leaves stay fairly healthy. You know, I kind of tried to minimize the water needs for this one, and we'll see what happens. Awesome, this looks like it turned out really well. Whoops, some soil falling off. I put a bunch of water on that, but gotta put more on. I'll just go ahead and plant it now. I'll cut off a bunch of that bottom part so I can plant it nice and deep. You can see this soil is a different one than I've been using. I'm gonna have to plant this on an angle so it's straight up and down. Anyways, yeah, it's basically just black earth. My parents had a bunch of extra, so I sifted out some of the fine stuff and put a bunch of perlite in there, so hopefully it'll be all right. It's kind of muddy, but oh well. Okay, it's July 13th today, and I'm finally gonna take this last 5th air layer off of my pear tree. Quite a long process. I was, you know, originally hoping to have them all done in a day, but things happen. Here it is, big one. I'll shorten it right away. No use waiting. Take a bunch of the lower ones off too. Got some branching down here already, so I'll just leave it right there for now. I'm sure a bunch of these leaves will fall off on their own, like they have with the other ones, which I'll show in a second. Yeah, so this is the one that I did with one of these air layering cups. It seemed to work pretty well. Bunch of roots coming in all around it, actually. Let's see if I can get this out of here with one hand. It's fairly straightforward. Got some weeds growing in there. Some of the roots got stuck on the bottom there. That's unfortunate, actually. You can see they broke off. Pretty good on the other side. Some of that dirt fell apart. I don't really want that in there. It was just kind of the, you can see this is just kind of the leftover product of, you know, after I sift out my soils. So you can see there's like pink growing tips on these roots, white down there, maybe the pink something else. Hopefully it doesn't mean they're unhealthy. Anyways, I'll pop that in here as straight up and down as I can, which will be something like this. Keep the camera steady. Pour the soil in. Probably could have mixed it a little bit more evenly. I think that's a good soil level. I wanted to try and save a little bit for some other things of what I had mixed up. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'll get some water on it. I'll try to get, that might not fit in there. Might be a little too big. Just use some smaller flat ones. Perfect fit. Look at that. It's like art. Anyways, that's got the tree really nice straight up and down right now, more or less. Close enough for now, anyways. It'll sort itself out, and then I can let it, you know, I'll repot it again in the future, or put it in the ground, and it'll grow it on its own some more. Right, well, that's all 5 air layers taken off this pear tree. I've got the other ones in the corner over here. This one lost almost all its leaves, but it's still alive. Some of its leaves are looking really good still. You know, most of them just got taken over by this black spot, whatever it is, and you know, they all fell off. You can see them littering the ground here. This is the one I took off the other day. So that's number 4. I think this was number 3. This one was 2. This is the first one probably over here. Yeah. Anyways, pretty cool so far. Success for all 5 of my air layers off this one tree. I think I should really do a little bit of pruning. I'm gonna leave a bunch of the good branches to grow strong for the rest of the year and then cut them off next, late winter like I did this year. But I want to do a little bit of branch selection, make sure everything's growing outwards. There's a few things here and there kind of growing in that I can get rid of. Just open it up a little bit more, try and maximize fruit production for next year. So I'll do that. Yeah. Maybe I'll do it off camera, maybe I'll do it on, I'm not sure. Anyways, and then I'll just continue waiting around for the apricot tree, the air layers to take for these. This one, not doing so well down here. You can see all the leaves have pretty much dried up and died. Same with this one. So these 2, yeah. Not sure what I did different, but the rest of them seem to be doing okay, more or less. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. There's a whole lot of growth on them. I need to start taking them back before, they start losing limbs and things in the wind. Got really windy the other day, and actually I just noticed that this persimmon tree, this long branch that I have air layered set up there, air layers, 3 of them, that must have blown around in the wind something fierce and got stuck under that pole. Anyways, I've got air layers on this tree, that apricot over there, and that's it right now actually. Oh no, I do have a few on the quince right here, 3, but none of them are rooting, so we'll see what happens. Well, I didn't take too much off. A few of these are from when I pruned the top of the air layering there, but the smaller ones there, I probably took off 4, fairly small shoots from in the center of this tree. Otherwise, I'm just gonna leave it, let it all grow until next, probably May. I'll do some more cutting and hopefully get some fruit stay on it this year. Last year, I got one miracle pear that I didn't notice until it was ready. But this year, nothing. Got a few on the pear tree on the side of the house, but that's it for this young tree. Better luck next year. In the meantime, hopefully I got 5 new trees to keep company. There's 4 of them, like I showed earlier. And I stuck the other one over here for now while I water it. It's looking really good. Okay. No more rambling. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Cheers.